Hello, everybody. My name is Blake Robison, and with me I have Jermaine Ferrell, the Virginia Sportscaster of the Year. Welcome, Jermaine.
Wow, I tell you that sounds good, then. But it's an honor to be with you, Blake, and it's such an honor to have this talk to you, and an honor to be get this honor.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, if you're ready, let's get started.
Mhm.
So, first question, of course, is how did you get started in this field, and kind of like take us through your path and include all the stops.
Wow, how much time you got? It's funny, I grew up as a kid, born and raised here in Roanoke, Virginia. Grew up as a kid wanting to, know the business. I used to have my TVs as a kid. I used to stack three TVs. Used to watch all the TV stations here in the market. And I used to take the Roanoke Times newspaper, and I used to pretend to do the news, weather, and sports, for my grandma and my mom. So throughout my life growing up, I've always wanted to get into the business and know about it. And then, I was graduated from Patrick Henry High School in Roanoke, Virginia in 1992. Then I moved on to the Army. I was in the Army for nearly a decade. I was a military pay guy, which had nothing to do with communications. But in my last few years of being in the Army, I did radio sideline play by play for high schools in Lawton, Oklahoma. I'm a graduate of Cameron University in Lawton, Oklahoma. And to do that was pretty neat. Sideline radio reporting. I was the sideline guy for these high schools. It was Eisenhower High School in Lawton, Oklahoma, MacArthur High School in Lawton, Oklahoma. And then right around, like I say, I did that in 1996. And then right around 2000, I got my first TV job while I was in college. I was a production assistant for KSWO, the ABC affiliate in Lawton, Oklahoma. And that market's a hybrid market. It's Lawton, Oklahoma, and Wichita Falls, Texas. So started off as like I said, a associate producer, which basically you edit, you did all that stuff. And then I ended up moving up to a producer role for the half hour show of that morning. And then in 2002, when I graduated from Cameron University, I got out of the Army in 2000, but moved down to the other side of the Red River, as they say. And I started my first job as a MMJ. And, that was pretty neat down at KAUZ in Wichita Falls, Texas. And I was there for 7 years from 2002 to 2009. I did everything there. I was MMJ assignment editor. I was an anchor, and my last job there was sports director, and I was sports director there for a couple of years. And then I got out of the business for a little bit because you get fired. And in this industry, I tell this all the young people in the business: there will come a time you will be fired through no fault of your own. Let things happen, and I feel God has a bigger plan. So I moved down to WABG. It's an ABC. It was an ABC Fox combo in Greenville, Mississippi. I was there for 6 months, and then I moved back home to Roanoke, Virginia, and I started selling cars. I sold cars for 3 years at Sheeler Motor Mile in Christiansburg, Virginia. And then, I still had the bug, still had the itch. And then in 2012, in March of 2012, I got the call to be the 11 o'clock producer at WSET, the ABC affiliate in Lynchburg, Virginia. And I did that for like about a year and a half. And then I moved back to Wichita Falls, Texas. I started off as a photographer, ended up being a weekend sports guy at KFDX, the NBC slash Fox combo in Wichita Falls, Texas. Then in 2015, this sounds long winded, but you wanted all the stops, so I'm giving them
Sure.
to you.
I love it.
Uh, 2015, Nexstar purchased the stations here where I work currently. It was WFXR and WWCW. And Nexstar has grown. They're now the largest, Nexstar Media is the largest ownership group when it comes to TV stations. I mean, there's stations in practically every market with them. So they purchased this station. And at the time, Fox affiliates, they really didn't, a lot of Fox affiliates didn't have their own newscast. So what they would do, they would outsource it out to stations within the market. They would produce that. Well, WSLS, the NBC affiliate, was doing news for WFXR. And so when Nexstar purchases, they started their first news division here at WFXR, which was so neat. And I started out here as weekend sports guy. Started here, the first sportscast, sports news we ever did under the umbrella. And then right around June of 2018, got the opportunity to go to Richmond, Virginia, WRIC, the ABC affiliate, our sister station within Nexstar, to do the weekend sports down there. And 6 months later, there was still an opportunity to be sports director here at WFXR. And God blessed me with the opportunity to come back home to my hometown, Roanoke, Virginia, to be the lead sports guy. To be and I started that in January of 2019, and I've been here ever since, covered a lot of events. The big thing is, I mean, what's kind of cool to be the first African American sports director in this market, lead sports guy in this market is pretty, humbling, and you do it on the shoulders of a lot of people, and you know they've been doing TV in this market since the 1950s, and to be the first, 70 plus years later is great. And then not only that, to be nominated, I was nominated 3 times for the Virginia Sportscaster Award through NSMA, and to get it the third time, to become the first African American to win Sportscaster Year in Virginia. It's things like that. It kind of puts it in perspective of what you're doing, and your peers vote for you. So for your peers to vote for you, it's respect. Respect knows respect, and the finalists in our state. And I also want to give a shout out to John O'Connor, the sports writer of the year for Virginia with the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Does a great job. And in this state, we have so many great sports writers and sportscasters. And the list of finalists, to be part of that group of 10 people, to be a finalist. And, through the years, there have been so many great people, over the years to get this honor through your peers. So it's such a blessing. And I couldn't have done it without the people that I've interacted with, most of all, my family, my friends, my coworkers, the people here at the station, the viewers, the stories we share. It's not an award, an honor for me. It's for my station, WFXR. It's for my family and my friends and coworkers. I take them with me with this. So I thank Dave, at NSMA, and everybody there, and such a great opportunity to join this list of great people. So I got along with it, but sorry about that.
No, it's fantastic. That's what we want to hear is the whole story. And a couple of things jumped out. First off, I will be interviewing John Connor earlier today, so I'm glad you said some good things about him.
Yeah,
And
give him my regards when you talk to him. Tell
I
him
absolutely will. I'll let him know
I think the world of him. I mean, he's does such good work, and really the sports writers are great. A lot of great people have won that honor, and for him to be a first-time winner, as well as myself, is great. So kudos to John.
Absolutely. Actually, a couple of things jumped out of your answer. A lot of people go into it kind of being behind the camera, in front of the camera. They're the ones speaking and talking and doing such. And you kind of got a lot of experience with, I would say, the technical side, no? And that's, I think, gives people a unique perspective and maybe a leg up. So could you, speak on that or?
Well, Blake, I think the biggest thing is people see it's kind of like people sometimes don't want to see how the sausage is made. You see the finished product, but I love behind the scenes stuff too. I anchor sports, but I love going out into the field, interviewing people, shooting stories, doing things like that. The thing is, and I tell young people all the time, people ask me, what are the keys to having a successful career in this industry? I say, first of all, be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not, because a lot of people, they see the on-air talent and they want to be like them. I said, you can take some stuff from them, but at the end of it, you got to make it your own. You got to be yourself. But the biggest thing is learn everything you can. I've been doing this for nearly 30 years, and I learn stuff every day. Technology is changing. I mean, when I first started, social media wasn't as big as it is now. And, newscasts now aren't appointment TV. Guess what you better have? You got to have this, your phone. Oh, that was my beautiful wife there. Oh, there she is. Picture of my wife. There she is. Just want to show her off. There she is. Okay. She's beautiful. Love you, baby. Yolanda Farrell. Beautiful, beautiful wifey. Love her to death. The biggest thing is you want to learn as much as you can. Learn everything, because There's no such thing as not knowing enough. And the thing is, learn how to produce. There's a lot of people that don't know how to produce because when you do sports, guess what? People think, oh, I have a makeup guy or I have someone do it by show. No, I put the show together. When you're in sports, you do pretty much everything. You're a producer, you're an assignment guy. You shoot your highlights, you shoot your own stories, you edit your stories, you produce your sportscast, you anchor your sportscast. So in sports, you can do so much that helps you. And I tell everybody all the time, don't focus more about being in front of the camera. That'll take care of itself. But it's the behind the scenes stuff, because if you can do more things, you're more marketable and you have the ability to go to a place, where, okay, wait a minute. Like if you're up for a job, okay, this person, all he or she knows how to do is just read in front of the camera. But then this lady or gentleman over here, guess what they know how to do? They know how to shoot, write, edit, all that on that resume. And then it's like, boom. So you're more marketable. So tell all the young people all the time, and ask questions because I tell young students, like, case in point, I've talked to Virginia Tech class a couple of times and I tell them, don't be afraid to talk to people in the business. I had a high school young lady in high school at William Byrd High School in Benton, Virginia, senior, wants to know about communication. She sent me an email, said, hey, can I shadow you? And without a moment's notice, I respond back, say, hey, well, first of all, get your parents' permission. I feel like a commercial, get your parents' permission. And so she shadowed me for a whole day. She went to a Virginia Tech press conference. She went out on shoots with me and she saw how much work it was. And I think I tell this all the time. If you can get an internship, and I tell everybody with the internships that we have, a lot of my interns have gone on to other jobs and have done very well. And a lot of it is the stuff I want to teach them. I want not only my coworkers who are below me, like Ryan Boy, our weekend sports guy, our new sports person, Miriam Chamberlain. I want them to say if they ever decide to leave, I want them to be so prepared when they go to their next job, they're ready. And it's the same with the interns because the thing is, they think, oh, we're going to get in front of the camera. No, that's really at the end of the internship, we'll do stuff on camera. But I show them how to put the show together, show them how to shoot, edit, all the basics, the tools you have. So when you get that first job, you're ready to go. And that's really something that's important. Learn it all, Don't be, and the biggest thing is don't be a prima donna. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of behind the scenes people, and trust you and me, I can't do my job without our behind the scenes people at the station. Our sales department, they go out and sell our Hardee's Friday Night Blitz high school football show. The support of the news director, the support of your general manager, because there's a lot of stations that are cutting back on sports. So if you have the support of your management and the sales department and our engineers and everybody, the support, and my family, my beautiful wife, my beautiful daughter Naisha, our grand blessings, Elias, and call him Eli, and then Ezariah Ezzy, my mom, Catherine Farrell, my brother Joe Farrell, my sisters Ellen Farrell and Christy Farrell, and all my nieces and great nephews, and my aunts, uncles, everybody in this community has played a big role. So treat people the way you want to be treated because it'll go a long way. If you treat someone like yesterday's newspaper, they're not going to be more inclined to help you. Build trust, build rapport. Don't take it too seriously. We're just doing TV. It's we're covering sports.
Must be fun.
Don't take it so seriously. It's fun. Don't take it too seriously. If you flub a highlight on the air, so be it. Flub a highlight. If you make a mistake on the air, it's okay. Don't, you can't get the playback like in sports. You turn over the ball. Okay. Don't let one turnover lead to two turnovers. Don't let one bad sportscast lead to two. If you do something at six bad, you're only as good as your last sportscast. So try to work on those things and just be yourself. So that's really the biggest thing with those things.
I love it. It's great. So let me look through my questions here because we knocked a lot out right there. And
hey, see, the thing is, it writes itself, doesn't it, Blake?
yep, absolutely.
Yes.
So here's something through your journey, which has been a very extensive and it had its ups and downs.
I'm old, Blake. I'm 50 years old. I've been doing it for a
I,
while.
I feel old and I'm 19.
Yes.
So through your journey, was there some unexpected occurrence, good, bad, whatever you want to talk about that just, came out of left field and I don't know, something that you taught you something or
A guy by the name of Vince Erickson, one of my mentors when I first started, he told me, first of all, about being yourself. That's one thing. He did sports in Nebraska, Lawton, Oklahoma. He's filling in down in Waco at our sister station in Waco, KWKT. He always told me you always want to have a backup to the backup to the backup. You almost want to be over prepared. So if some word, let's say you always want to bring, let's say if you're going on a shoot somewhere, make sure you have more than one SD card. Um, Make sure you have multiple batteries for your wireless microphone. Um, and this might be something even crazier. Make sure you're just because I wear sneakers wherever I go, so it's more comfortable. I used to wear a lot of dress shoes, but then as time progressed, you get older. It's like, hey, just I can wear sneakers. I'm going out. Sometimes I wear jeans. I wear jeans for comfortability. I think nowadays you can be more, and I'm not saying be relaxed or casual, but there's times I won't even wear a tie on the air. And it's just more of a, you want to be relatable. But circling back, I tell you one thing that happened to me. This happened when I was in Wichita Falls, Texas, and thank goodness I was only like 30 minutes out, so I'm driving to cover a game. And I was thinking to myself, I feel like I've got something. So I pull off to the side of the road. I look in my camera bag, and my batteries aren't in there. Because my chargers at where I was, the charger was on the desk. So I called my sports director, Tobin McDuff, fantastic guy, by the way. I worked with him. It's funny in this business, real quick. We were competitors,
yeah.
but we were very friendly. We treat each other with respect. I don't think he brings me onto his team if I treat him like that. So that's why I say treat people where you want to be treated, because the person you're going up against could be your teammate down the line. So I called Tobin and I said, "Hey, Tobin, did I leave my batteries on the charger?" He said, "Yeah, you did." I said, "Oh man." So I called someone and they drove because it was an hour away. So it was basically I was halfway there. So I called and they brought my batteries. But it was a 30-minute driving back, but it was an hour to get where I needed to go. So I was like halfway in it already. So that was one thing right then and there. Always make sure you have all your gear because that's a big thing. But yeah, that was one thing that happened. Another thing is sometimes when you do an interview, and I tell this all the time, some people want to list their questions. I pretty much know I want to ask somebody, but if their response, sometimes when you go out, you have a vision on what your story is going to be. But after you do an interview or you talk to someone, that story might be completely different. You might start in with it being like this, but then at the end it'll be like this. So always look at it like that. And there have been times I've done stories and I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that, or I didn't know that this person had these feelings. Because sometimes you ask a question and they don't vocal response, or they'll just say what they need to say. So it's almost like from the TV show Big Brother, expect the unexpected. Well, anything could happen. Or, there's been times I've gotten a flat tire. Heck, I'll be honest, there's times I've gotten a speeding ticket for trying to get back what you're not supposed to do. So don't ever speed when you're rushing back. If you get back a little late, okay, you got to work faster. But um, you just have to prepare for anything, and you have to, like I say, have a backup to the backup. So those are some of the things that's happened to me. Always want to make sure that your camera equipment, your stuff works.
Yes.
Because there's times you go out there, it might work at the station, but you get there, it's different. So one time, like I said, it was hot as Hades in Texas. You go and our camera room was air conditioned. So, and it was like an ice box in there. So you go, it's cold, you take it out, and the condensation on the lens forms. So then you take it out in the heat. So you almost have to leave it in your car a little bit so the condensation will go away. So
Yeah.
those are things like that. But preparation. No, when you go, first of all, when you go to a story, make sure you know almost everything about the story, your subject, whatever. And if it changes, it goes a different route, you have to adapt. Adaptability. Be adaptable to everything. So yeah, those are things that I've always had a backup to a backup. Make sure your cell phone is charged up. Sometimes you have to shoot off your cell phone. There's been times where my camera died on me and I shot off my phone. Video's just as good off of iPhone than anything else. So there you
Oh yeah. That's great. I'll tell you, I have some questions here on a paper, and I'm kind of just, I had a script, but we're kind of just flowing through it a little differently.
Okay.
That's what,
Well, and
taking
you
what
can,
you said.
and the thing is, you can ask those questions on the paper too. So it's we're good.
Yeah, but I like how we kind of are. It's creating its own path.
Yeah. But see,
Um,
that's what I'm saying. It's like when you interview somebody, you had your list of questions. But if I say something that invokes something that might
yep,
be way different than what you expect.
yeah. All right, I want to throw a fun one at you. So, if you could cover any sporting events at any venue, what would be your combination?
Wow, that's a good question. I've covered some great events. I covered Virginia winning the national championship in men's basketball in Minneapolis. It was cold up there, and to see that championship, they play it in an NFL stadium, and then they convert it into a basketball arena. It doesn't even look like it's a football stadium because the
Yeah.
way they have the seats, they have the seats, the thing raised up. Covering Virginia Tech women's basketball and their run to the Final Four a couple of years ago was special. Um, I tell you what would be neat. I mean, I've covered a lot of big events. I've covered a lot of bowl games. I've covered state championships in Virginia, which is great. But maybe, and my good, one of my former coworkers with me, David de Guzman, who's now in our sister station, Columbus, Ohio, he loves the Olympics. It'd be neat to maybe to go to an Olympics and see how that is.
Definitely.
Um, I think covering the college football playoff is similar to a Super Bowl. Uh, NBA Finals be neat,
Yeah.
but for me, I just love the local stuff. I love the high school kids because we see them on a daily basis, and seeing them play for a state championship is neat. So probably, I mean, going to AT&T Stadium was neat because seeing that stadium, is pretty neat. Probably a Rose Bowl would be neat to see it out in Pasadena and how that looks because they say it's so picturesque where it is. Um, you know, um, maybe cover a game in Miami. The Orange Bowl down there. So um, it'd be neat to see Hinkle Fieldhouse, and I've always wanted to see it. I was stationed in Indianapolis, never got a chance to go there. It's where they filmed Hoosiers. Um, Lambeau Field would be neat to see. So there's a lot of iconic stadiums. The old Yankee Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Seeing that. Um, Fenway Park. So your Wrigley Field. So your iconic facilities. I mean, we have a NASCAR race at the Martinsville Speedway, which is about an hour away. They call that the Wrigley Field of NASCAR because it's the track is 1 year older than NASCAR, and they have been racing there since late 40s. So think about that. They've had a NASCAR Cup race there since the start.
Yeah.
Think about that. And it's a half-mile oval shaped like a paperclip, and it's old school, and it's a beautiful place, and it's great to cover races there. It'd be neat to go to a Daytona 500 because I heard that's pretty cool, or Indianapolis 500. So there's a lot of iconic stuff.
So kind of, I still think in the more fun realm, but I always love to ask people this. Broadcaster or writer, which you're more in the broadcasting world, do you have an icon or a figure that you either did look up to or you look up to now? I think there's always somebody has a person in mind.
Well, it's more of a local thing. I mean,
Okay.
there's a lot of great national broadcasters, and it'll be fun to meet a lot of them, at the award ceremony in the end of June. But I tell you, growing up here, there was a guy. There's several guys. I'm gonna mention a bunch of them. First one really comes to mind is Roy Stanley. He was the first black sportscaster in the market. This was in the '70s. He applied for at a job at a TV station here, and they told him, "We're not hiring any N words."
Yep.
So think about that. I mean, he laid the foundation. I'm on his shoulders. He paved the way for me, and he passed away in 2000. And God rest his soul. And I grew up watching him. He had the best afro out there. I mean, his afro was tight, nice looking afro. Roy Stanley. He worked at the CBS affiliate WDBJ. Another guy, Mike Stevens, who was tremendous at WDBJ. You talk about creating an iconic high school football show. And I tell him all the time, the stuff you did, I kind of steal from you by making my own. A Mike Stevens, who was so tremendous. He's now a communications manager over in the city of Salem here in Virginia. Um, Greg Roberts, he does a radio show, Greg Roberts Live. Tremendous guy. I mean, he's been doing it for years. He did some work at ESPN. He's a sports director. Mike Stevens, sports director. Greg Roberts, sports director at the NBC affiliate WSLS here in Roanoke. Dennis Carter, who started, he was at WSET, the ABC affiliate. Grew up watching him in the 80s. He started in the early 80s, and he retired like 2 or 3 years ago. He has a radio show. Looking up to him, watching him do it. Dave Ross, who started, he's been doing broadcasting since the 60s. He was a sports director in the 70s and early 80s at the NBC here in Roanoke, Virginia, WSLS. And back then, their set, if you watch an old episode of Match Game from the 70s, that's what their set looked like, with shag carpet. It was so cool. So guys like him, and you grew up watching them, and then they're your idols. Now from a national standpoint, there are a lot of great ones that have done it over the years. Vin Scully,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
he called the catch game. Pat Summerall, I mean, he was so smooth at what his delivery was. He never got real. When you have John Madden, you already have the energy, but you have Pat Summerall that kind of tones it down, brings it home. Uh, a guy like a Dick Enberg and Moreland Olson back in the day, they did in NBC games. Frank Gifford was great to watch. Uh, and then you have guys, like recently, Guy rest his soul, like a Greg Gumbel.
Yes,
Like
sir.
I've bumped into him before, and it would have been neat to interact with him. His brother Bryant was tremendous with sports. And then the women in the business, like the Holly Rose, the Pam Olivers, ladies like that, Laura Oakmans, they've been doing it. Leslie Visser, Andrea Kramer, those ladies rocked the scene, and they set a foundation and paved the way for the great women that are doing sports today. Stuart Scott.
Yep.
I've been compared to Stuart Scott, and I was like, no, stop it, do not. I'm not in his category. He made sports cool. Sports was cool. The Chris Bermans, those guys. But Stuart Scott brought like a suave. He kind of like was like Michael Jordan. You see Michael on the court, you know what he's going to do. So those guys, they had personality. They weren't trying to be something they're not. Those are the ones, and I tell it all the time. It's okay to be yourself. And those guys, they didn't care. They were themselves. What's interesting with me, and they went to the same high school, Marty Smith, you know, Giles, Virginia, and now look, he's rocking the scene. And he was a guy that people were telling him, oh, you need to change your voice, you need to do this. But no, he's just down to earth, down home. He's himself, and people love that. Lauren Sisler, they both went to the same high school. Of course, Marty's older, but they went to the same high school, and they're both rocking the scene at ESPN. And Lauren Sisler, who's, she's won the state Sportscaster Year Award in Alabama a couple of times. You know, she's rocking the scene as a sideline reporter, and her story is fascinating, and she's such a blessing. So there's so many to name, and and I hope I probably missed a couple, but those are the ones. They're all great, and we're all doing the same job. We're all trying to just to deliver the sports and deliver it in a way that viewers. I basically look at a sportscast. Okay, I'm sitting down. We're sitting down at our house, or we're sitting down at a restaurant, and we're just talking sports. And that's how I deliver sports. I deliver it, and I also make it interesting to someone who's maybe not a sports fan. And I tell people all the time, you want to share sports stories that maybe the traditional sports fan could care less about. But it's the delivery, and you make it interesting. And really the cool thing, and I tell this to people all the time, and I tell, like Ryan Boy and Miriam Chamberlain, who work with me at Sports Farm, I tell them, I don't want you to do a story with stats in. No one cares that a guy rushed for 100 yards, but they might care if he spends time uh, reading to kids at a Sunday school, or the viewer at home might care about this young lady who's a great basketball player, might be averaging 30 points a game, but she might go and read books to an elementary school, or helping out in a food bank. It makes them humanize. Because I think if you're a sports nut, yeah, I could talk about numbers.
Oh, yeah.
But if the average viewer, they don't care about that. They could care less about that. Humanize, and like ESPN and Fox and all these networks, they do a good job. Like if you watch a lot of their feature pieces, and even like the 30 for 30s and all that, I can tell you right now, they don't talk about numbers. Who cares? If I want to find out how an athlete's doing on the field or the court, I'll just look it up myself. I don't care about the numbers. They're important. Don't get me wrong,
Oh
but
yeah,
you have to make sports something that it's interesting for people who don't watch it. Like heck, Taylor Swift, you know, is going out with Travis Kelsey. Brought in a lot of football fans.
definitely.
There were Taylor. This is funny, Blake. There were Taylor Swift fans that were buying Swift jerseys because there was the football player plays with the Eagles. It's
Yep.
Swift. I forgot his first name, but his last name is Swift. But Taylor Swift fans were buying his jersey because it said Swift on it. So
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that is great for sports, and
yes,
it allows everybody to kind of get involved. So,
right.
I have one last question for you. You've kind of already touched on this, which is great. But so, do you have any advice for young professionals, maybe like, even myself, that are interested in getting into the sports media business?
Like I said, the biggest thing is just be yourself.
Yes, sir.
Have fun. Like Blake, you want to do play by play. You want to be the next guy. Well, first of all, if you want to make that happen, you know, take the steps. Link up to play by play guys. Like I don't know, like you go to Wake Forest. I don't know I forget who the play by play guy, but obviously, Dave would connect you. But talk to the voice of the Demon Deacons, find out his or her story, or any other. In fact, I tell people all the time, just reach out. Here's the thing: not everybody's the friendly, lovable Jermaine Ferrell. A lot of times, nobody's going to respond to an email, but send an email out to a person that you respect in the business. Will they respond back? Maybe, maybe not. But reach out to them, and just say, hey, I'd like to, if I could spend some time or we could have a conversation about what your path to getting there. So, and I know a lot of people are afraid to take chances or even ask, but you know what? That's how you're going to learn. What Michael Jordan said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely.
So take a chance. Sometimes you have to be a little vulnerable sometimes, you know, and really, like I said, like for you, you want to go into play by play. So maybe reach out to some of the guys and gals that are doing play by play because they all have a history and a story to get there. And who knows, one day, Blake, you could be, calling the Super Bowl play by play of the Super Bowl or the World Series, the NBA Finals, or the Stanley Cup. So biggest thing, be yourself, work hard, you know, have a goal, have short term goals, have long term goals. It's funny. I had a long term, my original goals. Oh, I want to work at ESPN. And, there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
but also, have some short term goals along the way. Like stack up good days. Be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than you were today. Stack up those good days. And then it becomes you had a good week. Then it becomes you had a good month. You had some good years. So personality, show personality, have fun. Don't be kind of a stiff staccato like delivery. And that might work for some.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, but also don't be a ranter or a raver if it's not in you, but you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
Because viewers and listeners know fake and phony on the dime, and they will tell you about it. So be yourself.
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, I think I only asked a couple questions, but I think we perfectly encapsulated everything I wanted to know. So I'm very, very happy.
Thank you.
We are the Zoom, I guess, if you don't subscribe, they only give you like I don't know
Yeah.
how many minutes. So
They give you 40, so you better be quick.
yeah, so we have 2 minutes left. So
Okay.
we knocked it out of the park. But that's all I have for you, Jermaine. And again, just thank you for setting this up and congratulations on becoming being voted the Virginia Sportscaster of the Year. Incredible honor and congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir. Greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you to all my peers who voted, and congratulations to all the awardees through the state and national and the Hall of Famers and all that. It's going to be a great honor to see everybody down there in Zoom.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jermaine.
Thank you, sir.